You beauty, it is max bet time. Let's get into it. I'm very confident about Saturday. I like the look of it. Even though there's a bit of rain around, I am due for a big Saturday and I can feel that it's coming. I can feel it. I know it. Let's do it. So I'm going to look at two races. I'm going to look at Rosehill Race 5, which you can see there on your screen. And then I'm going to look at the main race of the day at Caulfield, the PB Lawrence. So I just firstly want to talk about Rosehill. Heavy track, heavy. There's going to be a heavy 8, 9, or 10, depending on rain. I'm recording this on Thursday Arvo because I'm going to a charity lunch tomorrow for Richie Callender, great cause, the Mark Hughes Foundation, and really looking forward to it. It's the greatest lunch of the year, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm getting this one out of the way this Arvo, and we'll get it out in the early morning on Friday. So hopefully there's no scratchings. But let's have a look at Rosehill. And the other thing I want to know what your max bet is as well, because I want to grow and learn with you guys as well. And don't just put your max bet out there. Tell me why you think it's the max bet of the day. One bet, your best bet, your max bet, and I want to know why. And I'll tell you what else. Whoever tips the longest price max bet for the day, I will throw a package, a Metro package. I'll throw a Metro package for a month to whoever tips the longest max bet, because I want you guys in there and all chatting and sharing info about why. Why is the key. So let me talk about why I like Peloton, which comes down to a bit of track bias. So let's have a look. This is the old screen, which there's a goal bet off the old screen. But let's have a look at the track bias, which I'll go back and have a look at that screen in a sec. But barriers. So barriers at Rosehill on heavy 8s, 9s and 10s. As you can see there, this is from 2018. Hasn't been a huge amount of them, 275, not too bad, 275 odd races. You can see barrier 1 plus 11, barrier 2 plus 7, barrier 3 plus 8. So you can see there is this distinct edge towards the inside, which we saw a couple of weeks ago when it was that heavy track at Rosehill as well, which is surprising, but it is what it is. I'll get back to that one. The other one that I'm looking for is the cam, the cruising on a heavy track. So what's this one that I got up here now is cruising ranks 1 and 2. So cruising rank 1 and 2 on a heavy track at Rosehill. We can see that there has been broken down by year. That's the figure we're looking at there. Plus 17.59 from 449 bets. So on pace, which we saw 2 weeks ago, on pace, inside, based on the historical figures at Rosehill, on a heavy 8-9 is the place to be. Let's get back and have a look at this race. Rosehill race 5, Peloton, drawn barrier 1, on pace. Tommy will either go to the front, which I would, but I'm not a jockey. Obviously not a jockey, and I'm probably not qualified to know what they're going to do either. So I'm not going to comment because I'll leave it to Joe Pride, who's a master trainer, and leave it to Tommy Berry, who's a master jockey. But what I will say is that Peloton has got a good early pace, so can lead. I've actually got on my cruising, is rank 1 on the cruising, and which means that Peloton's got the pace to lead, but will either lead or sit third fence. Trials. This is another main reason why I'm real keen on Peloton. Peloton comes down the middle of the track on a heavy 9, peels out and just goes bang and runs the fastest time for the day over that trial. So Peloton looks like it's gone to a new level and is in for a big spring. Looks primed first up off those 2 trials. Let's just go down and have a look at the market and the factors, and we'll talk a little bit about this race. So race pressure I've talked about. It's an average sort of pace. There's a few that could go forward here, but Peloton could lead if he wants to. Those ratings are all pretty even. Skyhook, if you go and have a look here, Skyhook's actually got a higher peak rating. So we're going back to this old database as we do because it's easier. 90 for Skyhook. And now let's have a look at Peloton. Peak rating, first start, 85. So the reason why they're both on 83 is because of the weight. So Peloton went 85 and then two lower ones. Skyhook's got a higher peak rating, but Skyhook is carrying 60.5 kilos against Peloton's 54, which last time they met, which earlier in the year in February, it's about a 7 kilo swing to Peloton. Skyhook ran third, Peloton ran fourth, but that's 7 kilos plus the maturity is very telling here. Plus the fact that Peloton won the trial on a heavy track, and Skyhook is untried on the heavy. The other thing which I want to show you about the ratings in this race is a horse called Nashville Jack. If you have a look at Nashville Jack's ratings here, which are 82, 82, 82 virtually, very even. I don't like when I'm looking at ratings. I don't like this, and we spoke quite a bit about ratings on the grind on Monday. But I don't like this. There's no peak rating there, whereas you got Skyhook at 90. I know the weight brings it down. You got Peloton at 85, but there's no improvement there with Nashville Jack from a ratings perspective. So that's why I'm against Nashville Jack a little bit in this race. The other horse, even though I've got Nashville Jack fourth pick, it just shows how far these other two are ahead. It just shows how far Peloton's ahead, really, because Skyhook's lumped with that 60.5, which really brings him back to the field. The other one, which I put in third pick, Grand Prairie. Let's go and have a look at. Let's just go and have a quick look at his ratings there. The Grand. So it's another story there: 73, 78, 82, 82, 79, and hasn't really got that peak rating so far. And also the class rise here. The class rise, which if I find the race strength here, 56, 69, 72, 82, 84. So it's going to have to go to a peak rating. Going to have to do an 85 to 88 probably to win this race. They're going to have to go to a new peak, and they're going to have to do it in a new class. The other horse which I was surprised about, I'll just go back to RaceNet over here and have a look at Blitzberg. So Blitzberg won the Cannonbury, but led off a pretty slow tempo. So let's go back to my database and have a quick look. Cannonbury, you'd think, yeah, great, group race, but 1,100 metres, Rosehill, tick, tick, but led off a super slow tempo, which I don't like. And the other thing which I don't like about Blitzberg is this race strength rise. So 70, look at that, 72.89 up to 84. So obviously a very weak Cannonbury, even though it was a group race, the Canterbury Group 3, it was a very weak Canterbury by the looks of that. So that's why I've marked the Blitz down. So if we go to the if we go and have a look at the race strength, you'll see that Skyhook's in front of Peloton and Nashville Jack. So there's no Blitzberg. You'll come down here, you'll see the fact that there's a weight rise there, there's a harder race. So that's why I'm against this horse. Let's have a look at Skyhook. There's a lot of ticks here for Skyhook. Obviously a very classy horse. I was on Skyhook quite a bit in the autumn. Track pattern suits, should go forward. A big class edge coming out of the slipper and a lot of group races. Easier race, tick, tick, tick. Second in a recent trial. But the weight rise, the 60.5 and untried on a wet track, really brings Skyhook back to the field. I was hoping for a better price than I've got 240 at the moment, but you can get 250 out there. I was hoping for a bit of a better price, Peloton. So mark 220, but there's just so many ticks from factor-wise that I could mark Peloton a lot shorter, but at the moment I've got Peloton marked at $2.20. Rank 1 cruising, won the two trials as we spoke about, the class edge. So that's pretty much the race there. There's nothing more that I really want to talk about this. It's a max bet. I'm going to have a real good crack at Peloton. What do you think about Peloton? Are you with? Are you against? And why? Let's move on to, let's get this over to the main race of the day over at Caulfield. The PB Lawrence. I think it's race 8. Let's have a look. Yeah, we've got Private Eye Bet in the PB Lawrence. Let's have a look at the track map for Caulfield, 1,400 metres. You can see there, so these are the 1,000, 1,200 coming out of the chute. You can see there's quite a long run to that first turn and only turn, whereas the 1,400, they come out of a chute there, and you can see there's quite a sweeping turn there, and then obviously the home turn. So there's two turns out of the 1,400. Traditionally at Caulfield, the 1,400 generally favours leaders. So historically, 1,400, that distance-wise, has been the most leaderish distance at Caulfield. The rail is out 9 metres, as I mentioned on the Saturday set. Can't find a lot of bias, but I would want to be horses on the pace there over that 1,400 metre distance. Let's go check out back to the King Zone and check out the race. What are we talking first? So, as you can see there, Private Eye. Private Eye back in the race from Evaporate, Here to Shock, Moira. Let's talk maps. I think Here to Shock is going to go forward. Here to Shock's drawn 10. Private Eye's drawn barrier 8. I think Nash needs to press forward. I think we'll see it either outside Here to Shock, or will perfect position for Private Eye would be getting 1-1. If something kicks up inside of Here to Shock, if Here to Shock doesn't want to lead, maybe crosses and Here to Shock sits outside the leader and Private Eye gets 1-1, because there is a bit of pace drawn in those inside three barriers. But all in all, there's not much pace really in this race, so it'd be interesting to see what happens here. As you can see, I predicted a slow tempo. I think the horses that will be suited by that and will race on pace are Private Eye, Here to Shock, and also Evaporate. So Evaporate's drawn barrier 3. Little bit of pace drawn 1 and 2, so could sit one off the fence. I wouldn't want to be getting trapped on the fence if I was Blake Shin, 2 or 3 back. Sorry, say 3 pairs back the fence would be an awful spot for Evaporate to be. But barrier 3 can be a real tricky barrier, especially at tracks like Caulfield or Moonee Valley if you're not leading and you're relying on luck, and horses can often get momentum and go past you. So let's go down. Let's go down a bit further and talk about the factors involved here and why I like Private Eye. So let's just go through the race. Private Eye, I've marked $2.60. I think the tab put up about $4.60, which is a crazy big price. $3.70 this morning and was smashed into one go into $3.20. Looks by this like it's continuing to firm. I've got $2.90 in my live price at the moment. So the price is really tumbling. Let's have a look why. I mean, you got the class horse here in Private Eye. Fourth in Australia, coming off a very fast early pace. I don't think that the pace is going to be as strong. And Private Eye, when the pace isn't on, can have a deadly sprint at the end there. So if you have a look at the acceleration rating of Private Eye, we've got 94, 107, 105, 100, 115. But let's go back to the cruising here. And this is the key for me to this race, is Private Eye has a 108 cruising, which can get up to the lead. So if it doesn't do that 108 cruising, which it probably won't lead here, it's going to have a lot more left. And that 94 acceleration will really be pushed up there as well. Track pattern, as we spoke about, 1,400 Caulfield, won a trial 8 days ago at Warwick Farm, was supposed to run last Saturday. The races wasn't going to race anyway on that bog track, but the races were called off. So it has a bit of fitness in the legs due to that trial, which it won. Should be ready to go. 1,400 looks ideal. Just ticks so many boxes here for me, Private Eye. The negative, old legs, but the legs are still going. Like third in the Strutty, fourth in the Strutty, come out and won the trial. Nashua Willer tick, Joe Pride tick, looks a solid bet. I wish it was a better price. I'd love 350, but I've missed that price. But just looks a real solid bet. Here to Shock, which I think will go forward. Now, Here to Shock ticks a lot of boxes there, as you can see. Rank 1 ratings, the track pattern, the distance all ticked. But 1 from 8 first up, and by that trial didn't look overly ready to go. Hasn't got old legs as a negative factor, but has had over 30 starts. So I'm just not sure about Here to Shock first up, but does tick a lot of boxes, and I'm certainly not ruling Here to Shock out of the race. Attrition is $23. I think we'll start closer to 100 to 1. Just needs longer, going to get back, not racing that well. 3 runs at Caulfield at 1400 and yet to place. Pinstriped is another horse that's not racing very well at all since about a year ago. When he won the Memsies, gets back. Track pattern, which we spoke about, that 1400 doesn't suited at 1400, but just not going good enough for mine. Mark 23, just because it has got a peak rating in it, but to be honest, I wouldn't take 30s. Desert Lightning is another horse that I am against. Can settle closer for 1, but he's going to be back in the ruck. Only 1 win from 8 since coming over to Australia. Up in weight as well. So I think Private Eye goes up a couple, but beat Desert Lightning home. And now Desert Lightning goes up 4.5 kilos as well. So I just can't see how Desert Lightning is going to beat Private Eye home here. Couldn't be on Desert Lightning. Evaporate, I think's the danger. One last start at Randwick, but had all the favours in front. Does love a soft track, which is a tick. Continues to improve. So you don't know where the ceiling really is with Evaporate. So I think he's the horse that could come out of the pack, but you see that low strength rating. So that's why he's hard in the market based on improvement, expected improvement, but he does continue to improve. So that is, I mean, I've got him second pick. I think he's the only danger to the favourite Private Eye that I'm going to be on. Sepples I'm against. Reasons, low strength rating. I think it's just there's a question mark at this level, as it says. Likes the distance with upside factor. Only had 5 or 6 starts, but just will need to go to too big a level for mine. Moira's an interesting horse. Come over, had 1 run, ran in the Donny and failed, but you never know where these horses they can just really improve off that 1 run. Got a gear change there as well, and things were a bit unsuitable in that Donny pace wise. So 1400 is probably too short, but keep your eye out for Moira over distance, and could run a hole here as well. Anna said I've marked 30s and 40s, but it's the same sort of thing. Couldn't back Anna said, even though it's an overlay. Ran last in the Donny, but you never know. These horses can improve, as I said. And Yellow Sam going up in class as well. Hardest race that she's been in, but she does have that rank 1 acceleration, so could sneak a place there. Can sit closer and from barrier 2 with that acceleration, but marked longer due to that class. Class is, especially in these Group 1s, class is everything. And if we go back up to the top, we see the class horse in the race, Private Eye. My money's with Private Eye. My money's with Nash. My money's with Joe Pride. Combination that wins 11% on turnover historically and has done for a long time. So that's it for Max Bet for another week. Let's hope we have a winning Saturday. Whatever you do, stay in the game, stay in the zone, and I'll see you on Monday for the grind.
Think, is this a bet you really want to place? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.